All right. Hello and welcome to the Black Tower. I'm your host, your guide, your brother, the beautiful Sorcerer on Muscle. Okay, maybe beautiful, maybe not, but I'm here. Uh, I'm gonna wait till a few more people get here. Uh, it has been a minute. It has been quite a minute since I've done a video. Quite a minute. Uh, I know I take breaks from video making, but holy shit, I make an art out of taking my time to do videos. I normally don't do these unless I have something to actually say. Hey, brother. I normally don't make these unless I actually have something to say that's worth saying, or something to share, or something of that nature. Because I do this out of love, because I have a love for this shit, not necessarily because all the attention and whatever. I leave that to the bigger channels. Let them do their thing, and I'll do mine. Uh, Karis, I want to give it just a few, man. I don't let's see if we can get some more people in here. I don't know. I don't get on Facebook, so I don't really like, posting to share and saying, oh, such and such live. I usually rely on, like, if people are subscribed or something like that. Hey, shit. Speaking of people, I emailed you back, man. So good to see you here. But anyway, I don't even remember what I was saying. But anyway, no, I do this sort of thing because I love it. I love magic in general, and just anything about it, the ins and outs and everything else. Uh, I took some. I had taken some time out last year because I needed a break and I needed to get away. It's just I was paying way too much attention to like social media or something like that. I have no idea. Too much crazy shit going on, and just backed way the hell off. Um, I don't know. I had to get away because like I think to a degree, I think social media is great to keep up with what's going on, but I also think that social media is actually kind of harmful to our emotional mental health, especially if you happen to be somebody who actually does care, and then social media is there to just bombard you with emotional, intellectual shit. It's either trying to trigger you, trying to trigger some kind of reaction out of you, some kind of emotional trigger, whether it's just, there's a thumbs up, thumbs down, whether it's to leave comments, whether, it's to share, post, you know, uh, further whatever agenda that they got going on. So, I had to back way the hell off that last year. And then earlier this year, I was coming back, uh, plans in mind of where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. Um, and then my poor cat died earlier this year uh, due to magical workings on a person that got removed off of them, and I can't even go into all the ins and outs of that one. But it's kind of interesting how if you're a healer or you're an exorcist or you're anything like that, and you're going to remove an entity or spirit off of somebody, I'm glad you're skilled enough that you can do that, but actually figure out what you're going to do with that entity. Don't just like let it run loose. You know, uh, all spirits require a vessel or something that they're attached to. And so if you're going to detach it from somebody else, you need to at least give it a home or give it a direction to go. And yeah, otherwise some really, really random weird shit can happen and somebody's poor little kitty cat can die. Still ain't over that one. Although I'm not so angry now that I understand what happened and the ins and outs of it, but it was still heartbreaking. Um, anyhow, it's good to see so many people here. I didn't expect anybody. I figured I'd actually be talking to myself tonight, which is cool. So I want to say, hell and welcome to the Black Tower. Uh, Notice the title, it says sorcery. We're going to talk about sorcery tonight. We're going to talk about what separates it from, say, witchcraft or this, that, or the other, or, uh, Satanism or paganism or this other stuff. So in the in the realm of magical modes and models and designs and directions, we come to the sorcerer. Sorcery is kind of like this right here. You have a framework, a belief system, a ritual system that you employ, uh, laws and rules that you hold yourself to, so that your magic is molded to the ideals that you have that you designed around yourself. And then it's about empowering the self so that when you go to cast magic, you're not relying on the power of a deity. You're relying on the power that you built up inside yourself. That's sorcery. That's true sorcery. Uh, I'm not knocking on anybody calls themselves sorcerer and does otherwise. I want that known real clear. Uh, but I am saying sorcery. Sorcery is its own beast. There is such a high cost. If you're walking a path working with deities, and like let's say that that you have a matron and a patron, and every day you do a sunrise prayers, you do the midday prayers, mid afternoon, midnight prayers, so forth and so on, and you're keeping up with these entities, these deities, and you're working with them. You're building rapport with them, and you're building a relationship with them. But what you're doing is you're working as simpatico. You're recognizing and honoring them, and they in turn are going to recognize and honor you. Okay, and so this leads to a really good beneficial workings for a lot of people. Uh, I applaud that. If that's your bread and butter, that's your bread and butter. That's what works for you. Because magic, I don't care what you style it, what you color it, what you call it. Magic is magic. Okay, and what you do with it is what you do with it. Okay, somebody else is gonna do something else with it than you are. And yeah, we always say like, well, it always falls down to the love, sex, money, so forth and so on. Sometimes. Uh, that's some low-minded thinking, but yeah, there are a lot of practitioners out there who do consider themselves sorcerers or sorceresses, and that's their thing. Or they do magic for hire, or any of this other stuff. And as I was saying before, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's their stick. That's what they're doing with it. Uh, wherever you want to put your energy or your time into is what you're going to. But the path of sorcery is like being on an open crossroads at all times. Okay, it means you can go left, right, forward, backwards, at angles, whatever. Okay, you always imagine yourself at the center point. That's why I refer to it as the Black Tower. The channel, the group, the Black Tower that my astral self is embodied within, and my astral temple is. Uh, it's a reliquary. It's a place where all this knowledge and wisdom and power is contained. It's doorways to other practitioners who are of like mindedness, who are upon the sorcerer's path. We do what we do until we've outgrown it. And then when we've outgrown it, like the serpent, we shed our skin and we evolve. We go to the next thing that works, because you'll find tried and true throughout time. There's no such thing as a cookie cutter world of magic, as we all know. You know, one day this one spell that's worked 5, 10 times, After a while, it'll just be like the effectiveness is wore out. You're like, well, why is it wore out? Why isn't it, why isn't it still doing that? Well, because you changed. The more that you work with powers and forces, the more that you change internally. And there's a part of you that is beyond this, that's no longer about just the love, the sex, the money, the this, that, and the other. Then it's about survival. Okay. And this is where I've always tried to turn this channel towards, is the understanding that, like, when I began and it was about the Necronomicon to me is a template by which I've applied every other system of magic that I've learned onto, because it works. It works just fine for me. Uh, I incorporate the concept or the idea of the Tower of Babel. It's not a great big fuck you to God or nothing like that. I have my own special fuck you to gods that I like do on my own. You know, like there's nothing like getting some lamb and doing a sacrificial rite where you offer the body of Christ to the devils. There's nothing wrong with that, or even to the shade of yourself. It's delicious. But the thing is that it's about more. It's about more than your flesh. It's about more than your mind. See, we are we are such expansive beings, and we are contained within a shell that is just a vehicle. It's just a vessel. It's a it's a suit that we wear to walk this plane. Okay, we slip out of this suit when we're sleeping, when we're doing chthonic workings, when we're doing astral workings, ritual workings, things of this nature. The idea of an absolute all, we can't fathom that, because there's no such thing as a singularity. A singularity is a multiplicity in disguise. Even my magical motto, Omnia Centunum, all things are one, all that's referring to is just the connectedness of a thing. And so when you're looking at how all gods are one gods, then you get it. But if you're like trying to say that there's a singular being, then you've got a little bit more work that you need to do inside yourself, a little bit more understanding. Uh, I'll come back through the comments and stuff. I just want y'all to know I'm not ignoring you. I've got a lot on my mind. I've had a lot on my mind, and I wanted to do this since the summer solstice, and just been waiting on the right time. Been waiting on the winds to be right for me to just be all here to be there, you know. And so, hey, here we are tonight. Um, I will say this: I'm not bashing any magical system or practice. All are viable and all are powerful. Okay, but it does depend on the individual. Now, I do not believe that just anybody can go around calling themselves a sorcerer. My wife is a witch. There is no way in hell that that chick is a sorcerer. I'm gonna tell you right now, because she got way too many. I don't know if you call them rules or if you just suggestions or ideas. I don't really know, but there's a construct and there's an order. In sorcery, we don't break it; we bend it. And sometimes I bend the hell out of it, and I'm afraid it's bent in shape. Then, it won't be straightened back out. But that's not here nor there. Then what I'm trying to express is that for everything at your fingertips, why would you limit yourself? Why would you limit your thinking? Why would you limit your feeling? Why would you limit your physical body? Okay. Now let's look at our spirit itself, our ka, the what I call the pravashya, the soul shadow, the shade. Now I know some people have to go back and look at my sinister series where I'm talking about the pravashi and the soul shadow. For any newcomers or anybody who's just seeing this and doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's under sinister series, where I go in a little bit more detail about it. The thing is that we are these immense beings. We are infinite. and we are in a finite form. Okay, and sorcery to me is the only way that you can expand beyond title, that you can expand beyond label. Okay, sorcery to me, when I say sorcerer, I'm thinking, a sorcerer almost has like a question mark over its head. Like, are you sure? And that's the way the infinite mind should be. Always questioning, always grasping, always seeking, always searching. And the reason why is because when you have that part of your psyche awakened, nothing can hold you back. Nothing can limit you. There are no bonds. There are no chains. None of these things. And so, in that sense, I refer to myself as a sorcerer because that's where I go with that. Uh, I employ a lot of laws and rules that I've created to govern myself. To govern myself. That's what I said. Myself, not somebody else. I don't hold this to anybody else. But if you fuck around in my playground and you're throwing some heat or some shade at me, you're bound by the laws that I've created. And that's just from fucking around in my playground. You don't come at me. You stay out there, you do your own thing. You're not bound by anything other than your own. But here's the problem with young sorcerers and sorceresses. They don't understand that yet. They don't understand that you have to create the laws and the rules that you're going to live by, that you're going to live, breathe, and die by, that you're going to continually exist by. Because when you set these, you may think, oh, that's limiting myself and I don't want to limit myself. Wrong, wrong. Like my Damon told me years ago, set the laws. Because when you set them, when you create them, when you set a set of laws and rules that you're going to govern yourself by, or that you're going to live by, what's going to happen is that you're going to have more control over the power that you're building up inside yourself as your practice evolves, as it becomes, okay? So, like, let's say every day for a year and a day, you've been working with King Belial, and you lit a candle, and you set his in 108 times or 111 times, how many times you want to, and you've done this for a year and a day, you've built a rapport with the great mighty King Belial. You have a very strong bond, very strong connection there. What these beings do is they rub off on you. But you need to also understand that you rub off on them because the closer you become to these beings, the more they come to know you. Okay, and when they come to know you, it's not like a forced or indebted love or anything like that. But when you're surrounded by somebody that all they do is love you, you're going to get a soft spot no matter what. Now they might be the last ones you smite, but you're gonna have that soft spot though that they made it to. They're the last one. Well, with spirits, it's much the same way. When you show dedication, when you show devotion, when you show that you're not scared to do the work, that you're not scared to lose sleep, that you know your time, yeah, you're limited, but at the same time, you're not gonna let that stop you or slow you down. Then you get their attention. When you get their attention, that's when you're dangerous because then they're going to surround you. Then they're going to see you as worthy. Then they're going to see you as something or someone that they want to be around, that they want to work with or help. Uh, whether that's giving you warnings, whether it's just offending you and you don't even know that they've done it, whether it's just all of a sudden you're nudged to move over a lane and it saves your life. You know, whether it's prolonged life. I mean, there are stories, and I'm not just talking about from the Bible or the Quran or any of these other books, but there are stories upon stories of people saved by miraculous events. Now they'll kid it up to God and Jesus and Allah, whoever else. That's fine, but I'm not going to give my power to a being that personally is not mine. I am the devil and I am here to do the devil's work. And that brings me to the next part about sorcery, and this is something I really, really, really have been wanting to express for so many years. Left hand path, diabolism, sinisterism, uh, things of these natures, they're not edgy. They're not they're not cool, they're not evil, they're not destructive, they're not this, that, and the other that you're going to see a lot of. They are freeing. They strengthen, they free you, and then they teach you how to defend and protect yourself. Okay? When you run across people who starts to manifest the fruit they bear is one of putting others down or, ganging up so they go attack somebody for some slight or something. That's not strength nor freedom. That's a chain. And that's one that they're living with and that they're living by. Thing is, though, is that they have to discover that for themselves. Uh, in this day and this age, just the way it is, and with the magical awakening that's been happening for a few decades now, you have to understand that there's a time that you have to declare who you are, what you are, and where you stand. That's what the whole idea of casting a circle is supposed to be about. I, the sorcerer Monosul, thy beloved, thy brother, thy ally, thy priest, thy vessel, thy child, do honor thee. I stand in this place, in this world between worlds, in this time between times. I am. And in your heart, you seek to be like them. Not to be bigger, better, better, because then that's an ego thing, and that's that same chain we were just talking about. No, instead, you're trying to build not just a rapport so that you can obtain something from these spirits, but you're building a rapport with them so that you can learn from them how to be like them, how to do what they do for yourself. And sorcery then is not for the lazy. Okay? That's one of those things where it'd be like, I don't know, it's like paying somebody to do something for you when you could go do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's not sorcery. You know, sorcery is taking the hard route. Not because you're trying to show off, not because of this, that, or the other, but because that's what it requires. It requires sacrifice. It requires loss. It requires all these things. But if you're always looking at it from, well, why would I do that if all I'm going to do is lose something, or if this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, and I'm like, well, then you're on the wrong path. Because that's not where your mind should be. Your mind should be, why am I going to lose this, lose that? No. I obtain more than I can ever sacrifice or lose. And the reason why is because we are always becoming, we are always evolving, always ascending. Okay? When, like, let's say, for example, and the serpent's a big thing for me, and not just because of the magical practice that I have, but the serpent's a big thing to me because it represents what I am. I am a being who sheds the old skin, is renewed, and then refreshed, and is born again. It's just like it's an Osiris mystery kind of thing, you know. Wouldn't know how to explain that if I want to do any better than that, I should say. But so let's say, for example, whatsoever you put, however you see yourself. Like I don't literally mean I see myself as a serpent, blah blah blah. No, I have the characteristics and the traits of one, Now, what I do with those traits and characteristics, that's the important thing. What am I learning? What lessons am I learning from the serpent? Am I learning how to only take what I want or what I need? Or am I learning how to be like the serpent in the aspect of, you know, washing away the old, bringing in of the new, the self renewal process that a serpent goes through, and that's what I embody. One whose venom is a healing elixir. It's like what life will teach you. You will learn more from personal experiences than you ever will from out of a book or from listening to people. You just will. You'll learn what not to do real quick. Yeah, you can learn that from watching other people too. I will say that I am lucky with that. A lot of the hard lessons I've learned, some of them have been from watching others do it. But it wasn't what they did that they did wrong. It was where they were coming from and what they were doing. It wasn't that they were wrong. They were just approaching it the wrong way. And there's a wrong way to approach something. If you're trying to ask somebody for help, the last thing you want to do is approach them like you're about to stab in the back and take their wallet. And that's what I mean by that. Uh, in sorcery, the ego exists, but the ego, the ego is not necessarily dissolved or destroyed or tamed or any of that other stuff. It's emulated into the Fravashi, into the soulless shadow, into your shade. I'll put it simply, into your shade. Your egoic self is transmuted into your shade. And the reason why is because you want that to be the most powerful part of yourself. And what does the ego do? The ego always seeks to defend and protect itself. Now, if you've done shadow work and you've done the healing and the cleansing and the purification of it over and over, and you're still doing that, guess what? You're one step ahead of most. And the reason why is because most people, they don't work with their ego. They don't. It's either something to fully embrace, like bulls on parade, or it's something that you're supposed to destroy. It's like neither. We weren't created with spare parts or parts that don't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Everything has its purpose and its use. You just got to figure out what it's for. But so in the concept of that, so you find a symbol that says like for example Osiris, the idea of the king of the underworld in the Egyptian mythos. Uh, you know, he's the dying, reborn, living, and it's over and over and over and over. Well, the serpent and the shedding of its skin is the same thing. It's called a self renewing. Okay, and so we want to take concepts like these and apply them to ourselves. And we want to find whatever symbol or image displays them best. And then we want to connect with them on a deep emotional, mental level so that we start to portray those aspects. Now, there are things in this world that they call demons and so forth and so on, and they can wreak havoc. They just can. But there's something impressive, something that your common sense should kick in and tell you to step back, and that you don't pet the lion, it'll really bite you or try to take your arm off because it's hungry. But there's something about seeing things that are like that we're like, that some of us, we're just not wired right or something, where we're like, ooh, now that's beautiful. I like the way that thing did that, you know. And in instances like that, you know, you have to be very careful because when you're talking about certain things that are in creation, you can admire them, but you need to you need to learn how to mimic the aspects that you admire about them into yourself and not admire them because you don't need to draw those things to you. That was the whole concept of ancient Mesopotamia, Samaria, where they would, you know, they were scared to death of Pazuzu. but they'd wear little charms and necklaces and things, and little statues that they kept hidden because they were like, he can get rid of the really nasty stuff, and he's handy in a pinch if you're pregnant and you don't want to lose your child. But when he comes around, stuff starts happening and never good. Do you see what I'm saying? So they were learning how to emulate the parts that they liked while omitting the part that was quite dangerous to them. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, yeah, there are some people who like to stand a lot closer to the campfire than others. I got a brother who's a freaking pyromaniac or so. I have no idea what his thing is with fire, but he loves it. Has since he was a kid, since he was like 5, 6 years old. Now no, I don't want him building no fire because like it'd probably take out half a block. But if I wanted somebody to explain to me the ins and outs of it, he could because that's his thing. Before we start admiring and worshiping others and other things, we first need to learn how to adore and worship ourselves. This is where the HGA or the daemon or whatever you refer to it as comes in. It's where the higher self comes in. I like the Greek word daemon because it speaks of a higher intelligence. One that's not so lofty in the clouds that it has no idea what living in the flesh is like. But at the same time, one that is equal and up to the task of facing against any threat or against any task. Because it's not always a threat. Sometimes it's a task. Sometimes it's something you have to overcome. Uh, so with that, your daemon, your like I said, you can call it your higher self, you can call it your HTA, your daemon, whatever you want to refer to it as. It doesn't matter. But you need to have a rapport with that thing. Like you need to understand that that is the God self. Okay, the day or night that you were born, this being chose your body, your vessel, your body to be its vessel, your mind and your consciousness to be the being that it would craft into a great and mighty being. And then at death would unite with it. There is nothing more beautiful than that. When you run into people who know themselves, knowing themselves, they know their daemon, they know their HEA, they know their higher self. And there is nothing that part of them doesn't know. Nothing. Now, whether it will tell them will depend on that person's individual, growth upon their own personal path. But it's not going to lie or deceive them or anything of that nature because it's not that. Okay? When we refer to ourselves as gods, what we're referring to is the crown of flame that sits upon our brow that is this daemon, this HGA, this higher self, this consciousness that knows all and is all. That is God. Okay? So when they say there's nothing, you'll not find outside of you what you do not find within inside yourself. You can't find God outside yourself. You find God inside yourself first. And that's where God is. God is that heart, is that self. Okay? Now, I'm not going to go around worshiping myself. Oh, William, you're so great. You're all this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. You can make it, First off, it sounds corny. Second off, stupid. And third off, I'm okay with just doing what I am, just the way I am. I don't feel I have any need to be this way or be that way. I'm just waiting. That's all I know. Now, when I step forth into a circle, yes, sorcerer on my soul. Who goes back, horns come up. And I am what I am, and I am who I am. And see, that's the difference. And that's where you've got to be. And then the uniting of yourself with your daemon, with your HGA, that's a lifelong thing. So that death, your life's blood, is a sacrifice that propels the Fravashi or the shade, and it to unite as one To become this being that is beyond good and evil, you know, that is neither angel nor devil, that is neither God, goddess, that's neither this, that, and the other, but that is other, you know. And it's okay to not have titles or words or names for everything because we're not always going to have that. You know what I'm saying? And there's times when words fail us. When was the last time you had a very, very, very deep, profound experience, whether from sleep in a dream and upon first waking from it, whether in real life when it happened right there in front of you, something that moved and stirred every atom, every cell of your being? That breath of life, that breath of wind, that that is the stirring. That is the awakening. That is the uniting of the two. And that's what it's like. Because I used to joke around and say, when someone say, how you doing? Well, we're just fine. And they're like, what do you mean we? It's like, well, me and all the voices in my head, but I'm a spokesperson, you know. And it was a joke, and and it was what it was at the time. But it was also, there was a deeper meaning behind me saying that, though, was that, you know, I unite with these things, you know. How somebody can I stand? Well, guess what? Neither can you. You cannot be at odds or at war with yourself, or your kingdom will fall. Your kingdom will not stand. If if your mind is so filled with the traits and the garbage of dogma or religion or about this, that, and the other, and your heart inside screams for something that is beyond the illusion of good and evil, beyond the illusion of good guy, bad guy, beyond this duality, then you have to embrace it. Except, it's and it comes back to what I was saying before. It comes down to a choice. You have to choose. You have to decide. You know, I would suggest. They talk about baptisms, reverse baptisms, and this, that, and the other, and what have you. I would suggest create a ritual, connect with your higher self, create a ritual designed around writing your name, and in my tradition, the system I'm working, it's the black book. And my name is wrote in the black book. My God is not the God of the Christians or of my physical family lineage. No, it's not my God, never was my God. You know, I know who my God is, and I need no other God. Choosing a side, and I chose, the Satanas because I'm like, it makes a spirit of rebellion, a spirit that will not settle, a spirit that refuses to follow or to be chained. I'm gonna go for that area every freaking time. I'm not gonna take my energy or my power or what I've gained throughout a lifetime of my knowledge to imprison or enslave others. Uh, First off, that's not in my nature. Second off, it goes completely against what I stand for. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I was saying your house divided. You have to make sure that you are united in that concept of what you stand for. You know, and you call it morals and you call it whatever the hell you want to. But once again, let go of the bullshit that goes with it, because every word has a meaning and that word can have different meanings to different people. So if it seems like, well, I wrote it down, but it sure does look like I'm right hand path, well, you need to let that go because this ain't about dualism. This is about a united, perfected self that is united as one, not something divided. Okay? Because this is about you and your ascension, your evolution, and your growth, not someone else's, and not the way others are going to look at it. Because if you're doing this shit so that somebody else thinks that you're this, that, or the other, Once again, wrong path, or maybe you just need to grow up some. And I do not say that in a hateful manner. I'm just telling you that's what it is. You need to get past that some way, somehow. I'm going to go back to the read some leads. I agree with you. It's good to take your time, especially being the importance of your role. Yeah. I believe sorcery is a way to open a side of a view of magic. Exactly. Sorcery to me was the only thing that was unbound, wasn't limited yet. There weren't enough people to fuck up that word or its meaning or, its definition. It's the only thing left, and it felt right since the beginning. Oh, there ain't nothing wrong with sex and money, man, dude. Money makes the world go around. People make that money for that sex, so there you go. Yeah, it's always about changing. You've got to change. You can't become stagnant, and fixed, and rigid. You know what I'm saying? If you're not flexible, it sure as hell break you. Okay, I'm trying to understand that one. Yeah, show yourself in that. When I was realizing what my purpose here was, when you talk about purpose, you talk about. Oh, let me put this out there because I noticed there's a lot of people that'll fill in the gaps for you if you don't got the gaps filled in. We have to create our own purpose. Let me put that in English, plain and simple. You have to create your own purpose. Can you say there was a reason why you were put here and so forth and so on? Sure. But you know what? You've got so much crap to get through and dig through, like your mind, your psyche, and your ego. The egoic self will want to put itself dead in center of things instead of just letting go and being like, "Oh, holy crap! I'm supposed to help people." Well, that goes again. Well, I don't really want to help people because nobody really helps me. Once again, it's an egoic thing. So that's why I said purpose. We have to create our own purpose. Okay. As far as our true will, now that is a discovery that I'm going to tell you right now that that might take decades to figure out. But once you've discovered your true will, and you're actually doing it, I will say this: there's nothing gets in your way. Okay, well, yeah, concerning the Black Book, I have seen it since I was, oh, hell, I have no idea, since I was younger. And I'm not really for certain if when I was coming up, if it was hearing in church about the Lamb's Book of Life or whatever it was. Uh, but as I got older and started working through my shadow and the egoic self, and like, okay, let it go, whatever. A couple years back, I'd been introduced to the Black Book as the boss. Holy shit. And I wrote my name in that book underneath the throne. And I have held to that. Uh, it's not signing your soul away and nothing like that. I say I put my name there. I say my name had always been written and put there. Because when you do the work to discover who you are or what you are, when you're doing all this stuff, it might be piece by piece. And every year you may not get an idea of who and what you are, or what you're supposed to be doing or any of this. But then again, you might. But you keep collecting these little pieces and put them together. It makes a nice little puzzle. But you figure it out. Uh, the Black Book is not a response energetically or mentally to some book of life and it's white or it's gold and there's a silver book and blah blah blah. No, the Black Book symbol is this right here on the cover. It's literally just these fingers like this, and this part of your finger is missing. It's a black book, and that's your left hand. It sits right there, and you feel it when they connect to it. And it is of those that are of the outside. And I'm trying really hard to explain this because there probably like different people are like, oh no, it's not that, it's this. Uh, it's not about order. It's not about chaos. It's not about who's the oldest and who's the youngest in creation and stuff like that. It's not like that. But it's where your soul comes from. Uh, well, let's put it this way: you know, or you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know one way or another whether you are written in the black book, because you know from your heart, you know from the core of your being. And I cannot tell you, like, oh, well, it's a white book and it's of life and these are the names in it, blah, blah, blah. And when I say you have to make a choice, what I'm saying is the choice you have to make is, do you accept? That is probably what I should have said. The choice that you have to make is accept that you are what you are, who you are. Okay, you have to accept that. And accepting it, then your name is written in the book. If I can put that in like really simple terms as best as I can, stumbling all over the place trying to explain a freaking book. But there are those who thought that they were of darkness and they thought they were of the shade and they thought they were of the night side. They really did. They thought they were of the chthonic planes and abyss and all this other stuff. And come to find out they were just frightened, angry Christians. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's what they were. You'll never find their names there because their names were never written in those books. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm trying to explain that this again. Also, the choice that you accept it. And like when I went and I signed my name in the Black Book of Azathoth, and I said, I say I wrote it, but my name was already written there. Was the funny thing about that is that since I was a kid, since I was a child of like 6, 7, 8 years old, I knew I wasn't a Christian. And I knew I didn't know who their God was, who they were talking about. It just never felt right. Just wasn't and I'm not talking about it as an adult looking back, trying to make myself look cooler now. No. Straight up as a child, I had no feeling. When I walked into a church, it wasn't like, oh, I feel the Holy Ghost is me and it's the Spirit of the Lord. No. Wasn't like that at all. I felt no connection. There was nothing there. But the first time I go and I open up the Necronomicon and I start calling a few spirits and they come, and they were more real than this being that people put bunches of money into a little round plate and give it to the pastor so he can go buy a brand new truck or car or something. Whew. No, I'm sorry. The only God I ever saw being served was money. The God of the church is money. I mean, straight up. They don't even know who their God is. Invisible force. Yeah, it's that feeling you get when you're happy about all that money you've got from all those people that went and busted their ass and you didn't do anything but say a few words. I imagine I feel blessed and full of God myself. If that had been me, But, to each their own, some of the strangest things is like some of the belief systems that people have is like, oh, God's angels will destroy the demons of Satan. It's like, Have you met the angels? Have you spoke with them? Like, you work with demons? Or you work with any of that? Do you have one that keeps the order? And you have one that does all the groundwork to make sure it happens. To make sure that the pillars will bend. That's the demon's job. To make sure it'll handle any stress or fracture. The thing that is the pillar are the angels. They're the form, you know. But once again, you're talking about ignorance. But see, you're gonna find a lot of people that they will argue and they will turn blue in the face arguing with you about these things. And it's like, who came up with the concepts you're talking about? Man came up with those concepts. Have you yourself sat down, ridded your psyche of that garbage, and reached out and spoke with spirit yourself? Try Tahuti, talk, God of wisdom, holy cow, Ibis head, God. Like that, he'll pretty much talk to anybody. Okay? Uh, you can go to the angel Raziel. Now hell, that angel right there will talk your hell. Good luck, and he'll do it for days, and he won't stop. But if you want to know something, talk with them. I mean, like I said, you're busy listening to man. You're only learning what somebody else has spouted before them. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, a lot of the things that I'm saying, maybe the way I'm saying them is unique and different. But this stuff has been said before. It's just sometimes it's the way you say it, the way you say something is what makes it easier for somebody to take it in. So some people might be more elegant speakers than others. Some might not. You see, it doesn't matter about that. But what knowledge are they sharing? Are they sharing knowledge that come out of a book or to come from somebody else? Are they sharing knowledge of things they learned? And I'm not talking about personal gnosis. No, I'm talking about stuff that's been tested. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just, oh, I came up with this great idea, and here I want to share it with you. Now let's see what happens to you when you go do it. And then I'm gonna sit here and write in my grimoire, my book of shadows. Don't do this because I sent this out there and this person did this and I screwed them up. But yeah, something like that is gonna screw up somebody else because that information was made for you. See, that's the difference between sorcery and this other stuff. A lot of times, gnosis, knowledge, stuff that you get from spirits, it's for you. It's for you to work with. You know, a lot of times spirits will tell you, you know, oh, you can share this, you can share that, you know, so forth and so on. But that's because of communication with them. But at the same time, you've got to have, you know, whatever knowledge you're trying to share with somebody. I'm not saying you got to have proof, but what I'm saying is, you know, you better have some like experience with it. Like, you know, I'm not going to get on here and say, oh, do blah, 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 blah. And then turn around and wait on you to message me, let me know how it worked out. You know, it's one thing if somebody came to me and is like, you know, hey, how can I take care of this problem? If I give you advice, information, knowledge like that to help you out with something, bet your ass is going to work. Okay? There's nothing to that. But like, let's say, for example, that that I just, you know, sat down and meditated and all of a sudden I'm kind of like, oh, I know the secret name of 1,000 gods, and this will make everything happen if you'll just do this. First off, how do I know that's true? Second off, I got to test that. And third off, why would you share something like that? See what I'm saying? Because what if it's based on, you know, that bowl's really hidden, you know, and you're just like, you felt the spirit move. Oh, you sure did. The spirit of that plant is strong. There's a lot of spirits and a lot of things that we take and put in our bodies that are strong. Caffeine's one of them. Nicotine's one of them. So forth, so on. You know? And so just be aware of where this knowledge is coming from. and be honest with yourself. Like, what mood were you in when you did that? Because if I have to get high all the time to channel knowledge, here's an idea. I'm not channeling gnosis. I'm digging shit out of my head. And saying that's what a lot of I'll say a lot, and I'll try my best not to like implicate or say that this is what's going on. Just be careful where you're getting the knowledge, who you're getting it from, so forth and so on, because there is so much to take into consideration when you're listening to people, especially concerning gnosis. Because you know, if my life's too fucked up for me to be giving you advice because I haven't took my own advice, then you should take my advice. Nothing goes for others. You know what I'm saying? You don't listen to somebody. Listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about, who's been there, done that, and is actually making leadway with it. Don't just, because you respect them. You know, I can love and respect anybody and everybody. You know, that doesn't mean I'm gonna agree with you. You know, and that's where you want to be with it. You want to make that distinction. You know, and don't be scared to hold that distinction. You know, just hit what's missed. uh, Andrew, you are not lying about that, man. There are a lot of really kind spirits. So here's the thing: like in real life, you're not going to attract any and every personality to you. Not everybody's going to get along with you. You're going to have some gangsters that are straight up gangster and has nothing for you. Well, wouldn't talk to you at all. Spirits, I'm not saying you got some gangsters and you got some this, you got some that, but you kind of do. Not every spirit's going to talk to you. It's just not going to happen. Some will have the time of day for you for whatever reason that's about. Okay, that is a thing. Uh, and so you got to take that in consideration. There are going to be some spirits that work real well with you. It's like there are people that work real well with you. Well, there'll be people who won't speak to you and give you the time of day. Well, there are some spirits like that too. And that's okay because that's not for this incarnation. That's not for the path that you're on. That's not for anything that you need. And actually, that might be a hindrance. So that spirit keeping silence away from you could be one of those things, trying to protect you from going a path that you're not supposed to go down yet. Okay. To show you where the book is. Holy cow. I mean, I take a lot of notes and I keep a lot of notes, but this has been shown to me for, according to my notes, it was either 3 or 5 months before a certain blood moon lunar eclipse that was the time that gate door would open. So I couldn't necessarily show you where it is because it's about timing as far as when that particular gate opens. The gate of uh, Azathoth, Adazoth, Azag, Azoth. So many different names, so many different meanings. That particular power, I'm gonna call it power, because I have no other word for it. Because it's not necessarily a deity. Okay, it's more like power, a principality, even if you would. It's just a great. It's one of the most ancient of things that I've ever worked with or dealt with. Uh, the throne upon it, it's black basalt stone throne, blackened sun with the rays going out from it. On top of what looks like 1,000 steps leading to it, and it's in the realm between astrally speak. It's oh astrally speaking, if you know where the Black Tower is on the chthonic planes that are above and between the abyss and the void, because the abyss is more like a cloth or a fabric. It's kind of like a meet and greet space there before you get to the void, and then the void is a place of nothingness. We're right between those two, and it's just place of just nothing's up, nothing's down, nothing's right. It's pure chaos, for lack of better words. It's what the ancient Sumerians called the waters of chaos. There is where this tower abides, and you'd have to find it from there. Unless you know how to get to that place, I couldn't really help you with that. Uh, but yeah, and hopefully one day we can video chat because that'd be nice, Antonio. Uh, love to actually formally meet you and you know just sit and shoot shit with you, chat with you, man. Uh, that being said, done though, I appreciate everybody for being here tonight. Uh, I'm hoping I can get back to doing this. Sorry, this was like no notice, no nothing like that, but I can't make schedules say, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, so forth and so on. Because here lately, I have a lot of stuff going on in my physical life, like in real life, like shit I have to do to take care of. Always working on my tools, working on my magic, doing what I do, and then trying to stay sane, sleep, eat, and all that other good stuff. You know, the things that humans do. We must pass amongst them like we're one of them, brother. You know, uh, somebody's sense of humor, catch that. Remember, though I be in flesh, I am in no way human. And tell yourself that. Because that's how you break the hold that this has, that the listening to this has, like when it comes to others and stuff. Like, though I be in flesh, I am in no way human. You know, and what that'll do over time is that'll allow you a certain form of control over your mind's connectedness to the shit that the dross of the world is connected to and just interested in. But I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you for being here tonight. It really means a lot to me. I appreciate it. And to all those who didn't make it tonight, but to catch you later, I appreciate you checking out my video. I hope you found it interesting, entertaining, and at least educational as fuck. But with that being said and done, till next time, hail the infernal, hail the fallen.